The ethics of the kingdom of God. You have to remember that the family of God, let's look at that again. Here we have the family of God. And we have the church. And then we have the whole kingdom of God. We're going to come over to Matthew 13 pretty soon. We're going to talk about the kingdom parable. All right? Now, all of this is talking about the ethics of the kingdom. The ethics of the kingdom. Now, once you're born into the family of God, you can never be unborn, can you? You can't lose your salvation. That's absolutely impossible. All right? Absolutely impossible. So we believe in security of the believer, not because we like that term, but that's what the Bible teaches, security of the believer. It's also called what else? Preservation of the saints. Preservation of the saints. That's where the saints persevere until the end. All of their lives, they're saved thoroughly. The church relationship and the family of God are not the same term. I know many people believe that everybody that's saved is in the church, but the church and the family of God are two separate entities, and the kingdom of God is actually another separate entity. All right? When Jesus came to this world, He came to this world to do what? To be related to His creation and to redeem it to Himself. Okay? To save it and redeem. John 3:16 is a very, very common verse, but so many people don't really understand what it says there. Just how many of you? Well, just about everybody knows John 3:16, don't they? For God so loved what? The world, the cosmos. Didn't say just man, did it? we feel like sometimes we feel that man is the center of everything. God is the center of everything. God, what was the first caretaker of the material realm of God? Who was the first one? Lucifer. All right? Who replaced Lucifer? Adam. All right? Adam took his place. And of course, we're sons of Adam, aren't we? But we're also sons of the curse. We're infected with the curse of Adam. All right? But one of these days, God is going to redeem. Now, when man sinned, he was the heir of the kingdom. You know, he was the administrator of God's kingdom on earth at that time. If you look back here on God's plan, back over yonder in the original creation, when God put man on the earth, we find out he had some responsibilities. What was he supposed to do? What was he supposed to do? What was Adam supposed to do? Protect the earth. From what? Huh? Diabolos. Diabolos. Lucifer. Because man had taken his place, and he was very jealous of mankind. Well, he flopped, and Adam did. He wasn't watching his wife, and Lucifer came up in the person of Nahash. Say that. Nahash. That's the serpent. That means a deceiving serpent. That word is very, it means deceptive. It means perverted. It says that he was the most subtle of all of the creation of God, and evidently the snake, Nahash, the serpent, was the head of the animal kingdom. We find that God cursed him above all of the animals in God's kingdom. We find out also, even over here in the millennial reign, that he is the one animal that's going to be cursed even right there. Animals got along real good until when? They didn't kill each other until when? So after the flood. All right, they got along. Man did not give animals to... God did not give man to animals to eat until when? After the flood. All right, they were companions before that. And then after that, they have the fear of man and of each other in them. All right, that's when they become vicious. take on some of the Adamic type nature, a vicious nature. All right, all of these things we see. Now we have the king coming to his kingdom. He comes into to Israel, the administrators of his kingdom, and Israel rejected him. But he's calling out from those Jews, he's calling out some people that will follow him. All right, he's calling out his what?
Ecclesia, the church.
He's calling out the church. He goes along, and what does ecclesia mean?
One's called out.
One's called out. All right. He calls that out. And how should that church be translated? Actually, correct? How should the word church be translated? Assembly. Assembly. It's an assembly. It is a congregation or assembly. It is not a building. If you go back to 100 AD, you'll find out that every church was Baptist by nature. That's right. All churches will say they were all Baptist churches by belief, by doctrine, and by manner. By 251, there was a division in church in Rome, the Cornelius and Novatian. After that period of time, we find out that Roman church became more corrupt all the time. It just took a one step originally in the wrong direction. But when you tell one lie, what happens? You got to tell 5 of them to cover that one up, and then 10 of them to do that, and then 20 of them, and pretty soon that's what happens with Catholicism. The Catholic Church says you can trace her all the way back to Christ. You can. You can trace the Catholic Church all the way back, but about 251 AD, they become Baptist. So, making sure, and I can guarantee you one thing, Peter wasn't the first pope either. Jesus is the head of the Lord's church, not the pope in Rome. All right. We see all of this coming down to the church age. That church followed Jesus, and it started coming at the ethics of his kingdom. The ethics. What does ethics mean? What's the ethics? What's ethics mean?
It's the honesty.
What? Morality. The morality of the kingdom. In Matthew the 5th chapter, and I want to tell you something, people. We're going to study some real difficult passages here. We're going to find out who's speaking, who's he speaking to, and what's the subject. Okay. So first of all, Jesus is talking to the ecclesia here. There are other people listening on the outside. There are thousands of people listening to Jesus. But he's talking to his ecclesia primarily, and he's giving her the ethics of his kingdom, the rules of the kingdom, the morality of the kingdom. Okay? Let's see what's going on here. Verse 21. In King James, it's a whole lot different than it is in the original language. Who has King James? Anybody got King James around here?
I got the
Episcopalian Bible? Oh, Brother Rex. All right. Could you read 5:21 for me?
And ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment.
Okay, now let's look at this very closely. All right. 5 and verse 21. 5 and 21. You have heard that it was said to the ancient ones. The ancient ones didn't say that. It was spoken to the ancient ones. Who told the ancient ones? Who told the heads of the family? The patriarchs. Where were the patriarchs? Where did they receive the law? From Moses. All right. The ancient ones, they heard. But Abraham was before that, wasn't he? All right. How about Noah over here? Noah. What was it? What was his responsibility? Do good and offer blood sacrifice. And what else was there under the age of conscience? Huh?
responsibility.
Right over there, after the flood, we have what? Human government. Human government. The rules of human government. And there it was, what were the rules of the human government? Huh? Oh, no, we're going before that. Here's the law way over here. Way over here. What's the rules of human government? One of them is thou shalt not kill. You didn't go out and slay an animal just to be killing it, by the way. You didn't go out and kill another man. If you went out and killed another man, and even during this period of time when the tabernacle was in the wilderness, if you killed an animal outside of a sacrifice, what was the penalty? The death penalty. The shedding of blood.
Well, how did he kill him to eat him?
They brought him to sacrifice.
Oh, and then they
brought him and they made sure that the blood was honored because the life is in the blood. That's right. When they slayed the animal, they slayed it in what we call a humane way. If you have kosher food, you have kosher butchers and kosher everything, they slay the animals in a kosher, clean way, in a humane way. They do. They cut their throats. Kill them.
that's humane.
That's more humane. Now this is kind of gross, but I will tell you the truth. Most of the animals that you go buy in the store, the animals were being butchered while they were still alive. They shock them in the head. They won't even spin a bullet to shoot them anymore. They shock them and knock them about half duty and begun to butcher them. And the chickens, when you got blood in them, it's because they run them through a machine and chop their head off and they're already kicking them while they're still alive. That's not kosher. Okay? That's not what God said. But we like to save money, don't we? Save money, more profit. All right. Let's go back to this now. Okay. You have heard that it was told to the ancient ones, all the way back to Adam and all the way back to Noah, and there at Mount Sinai, that you shall not commit murder. Now this is more than kill. This is more than just slay, but this is commit murder. We know that in the book of Genesis, the first child born to Adam and Eve, they thought was the Messiah, didn't they? Eve said, look, we have received Jehovah. Here he is. Here's Jehovah, the Messiah. After they had sinned, God promised them, the seed of the woman, they were going to have a Messiah. They didn't realize that it was going to be 4,000 years. So they thought the first child was the Messiah. And what the first child is the next child. He murdered him, and this is what we call overkill. In the Hebrew, it says that he chopped him up like a Jeffrey Dahmer type thing. He slayed him, he stabbed, he cut, he stabbed and stabbed and stabbed. There was a guy in my neighborhood one time, they killed him, and he was stabbed 21 times. One time would have killed him. 2 times would have been more than enough, but he was stabbed 21 times. That was what we call a vicious murder. A vicious murder. That's what Cain did to Abel. And that's what he did to Abel. You shall not murder. All right? Whoever commits murder is guilty, responsible. That word there. Look at that word. He is an oko. Liable, responsible, guilty, declared guilty by the Sanhedrin. By the Sanhedrin. When did now we've studied all the way through, this is 200 and what this class is here. This is 241. I have to look at the number. Class number 241, we've gone all the way through the Old Testament already. Okay? All the way through the Old Testament. And we have learned a lot of things about the law of Moses, haven't we? And we find out that a whole lot of it is brought in the New Testament. When was the Sanhedrin first, when did it first start?
With Moses.
Huh? With Moses. With Moses. The 70. The elders. Okay? The elders back then. And then in the New Testament that we have the Sanhedrin. We have that Sanhedrin that condemned Jesus to death. The Sanhedrin did. The Sanhedrin killed Stephen and stoned Stephen. And not only did they kill and stone Stephen, but the members of the Sanhedrin went over there with their teeth in their mouth and bit him and chewed on him like dogs with great anger. All right, that's viciousness, okay? That's this kind of murder. Now, Jesus, out there in the background, here we have this little ecclesia. Now, Jesus is going to work on the Pharisees. The Pharisees thought they were separate from all the other words. The word Pharisee means divided, separated, set apart. And they thought they were holier than even God. God's rules, God had set down rules in the Old Testament, and they had to make more rules than what God did. They thought they were so special that they could keep more laws than what God had required of man. And you'll find out something with false religion. False religion will always require more of you than what God does. Just remember that. False religion will always require more of you than what God does. You always have to do something else to be saved besides believe. Brother Abe, when you bring these songs, you are really bringing gospel messages. Saved by the blood, only by the blood of Jesus. That's it. But the world will add something to it. False religion will always add something to it. Now, let's go on to the next verse. Now, guilty of murder, you shall not murder, and he is slapping the Sanhedrin because the Sanhedrin is going to murder him, and they're going to murder Stephen, and they're going to murder a whole bunch of other people. When the little church was called out, and when Israel rejected the gospel and rejected their Messiah King, that same institution, false institution now, begins to persecute truth. Always false religion persecutes the truth. We have it back in the garden with Cain and Abel. You know, Jehovah himself talked to Cain, trying to reason with him. Abel tried to reason with Cain, but he wouldn't listen with him. And he murdered. That vicious murder. Verse number 22 now. But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother, who? Everyone who is angry with his brother. Now, what relationship is that? Brother in the family of God, brother in the church. I tell you, you'll have trouble in churches sometimes. This is where it needs all. Churches require all the grace that you can muster. Sister Adele, am I telling the truth? Churches require all the grace that you can muster. You'll sometimes be done wrong by your brother. But you know what to do with your brother. You forgive him. Okay? Now, out in the world, it's not talking about out in the world. You go over there and somebody panhandles you, somebody breaks into your house, somebody kills you, your wife, or your children or something like that, robs your house, everything else, you say, well, come here and take, you left something. Don't forget this. You messed, I got a diamond ring over here. Don't forget to take the diamond ring. That's not what you do. That's under the government, under civil law. What do you do? You arrest him. You defend yourself. That man is not your brother. He may be a brother of the human race, but he's not your brother. Your brother is the one that you... This is what we're talking about here. But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother is declared guilty before what? The Sanhedrin. Jesus is telling these Pharisees, those people that make up the Sanhedrin court, which is supposed to be you, when you're angry with your brother, and who was the Sanhedrin court angry with right here? Who were the Pharisees angry with? Jesus. Was he their brother? He was their king and their Messiah. That's who he was. But they were angry with him. They were so angry with him, what did they want to do? Murder him. Murder him. You're guilty before the court. And whosoever say to his brother, Raka. All right? Raka. Something like that. Or we'll have an emo on the end of it. Raka. What does that mean?
Worthless.
Huh?
Empty one or worthless, I think.
Huh?
Worthless maybe? Empty one?
No, it doesn't mean worthless.
No.
Deuteronomy 16:16. Go there. Deuteronomy 16 and Exodus 34 and verse 20. We're going to find out what Rakah is that's in these verses right here. This is for the original language. It's very important. Otherwise, you miss the whole ball. You don't even see it. You know, when you get out, I used to play baseball. That was the only sport that I was ever excited about was baseball. And when I was in the 5th and 6th grade, my teacher in Nevada, I was in a one-room schoolhouse up there, and my teacher happened to be an ex-professional baseball player. And if we got all our work done, we got to go play baseball, summer, winter, whatever. We played baseball. That's all. We didn't play football. We didn't play basketball. We played baseball.
Amen.
All the time. You know, the good old American sports. And I knew all the rules. Well, I tell you what, we just about had a professional baseball team. Up there. Deuteronomy 16:16.
Yeah, my Bible says it's an idiot.
All right. We're going to get to look at two words there.
Deuteronomy 16:16.
Yeah, Deuteronomy 16:16. Who has that? Young man, you have that right there? What is yours?
Rick? Yeah, I have it, but it's in the New Living.
Well, I don't care. Just read it.
3 times a year, all your men must appear before the Lord your God at the place he will choose, at the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Feast of Weeks, and the Feast of the Tabernacles. No man should appear before the Lord empty-handed.
Raka. Raka. No man shall appear before the assembly Raka without a sacrifice. Empty-handed. Let's go to Exodus 34:20. Exodus 34:20. Exodus 34:20. Exodos. That comes from the Greek word ek and hodos. The way out or the road out. All right? That is from the Septuagint, not from the Hebrew. All right? Exodus 34:20. We're going to see another example of the rock cut. Brother Randall, are you there?
You shall redeem with a lamb the first offspring from a donkey, and if you do not redeem it, then you shall break its neck. You shall redeem all the firstborn of your sons. None shall appear before me empty-handed.
Rakah. Empty-handed. All right, empty-handed. No one shall appear before me empty-handed. Empty-handed. In Gesenius, I'm trying to figure out what page it is. On page 768, in Gesenius is a Hebrew Chaldee lexicon. You'll find out that means empty-handed, without a sacrifice. Without sacrifice. And if you don't have a sacrifice, when you come to God today, and you don't have a sacrifice for your sins, what are you? What are you if you don't have a sacrifice? Well, you're damned. You're damned. You're lost without sacrifice. You're lost without sacrifice. Remember, I told you we're going to give you some straight answers to difficult passages, and only God has the right to damn people. A lot of people will say damn you all the time. We see that in people. You can't walk down the street without somebody saying that. That's not good. That's not good. All right? That's not good. Let's go on a little bit further in this here verse. But I say to you that the one who is angry with his brother will be guilty before the court. Whosoever shall say to his brother, damn you, you're without a sacrifice. That's what it means. You're without a sacrifice. You shall be guilty before the Supreme Court, which is the Sanhedrin, with the high priest there in the midst of it. And whosoever shall say, moron, shall be guilty enough to go into hellfire. Moron. Now what? What? Moron. We got to work moron right out of it. All right, right out of that word is moron.
Didn't when Jesus called them fools, the same as this, that give us the right to say things, didn't he, Jim?
What?
When Jesus was whipping them and calling them fools in the court, the money changers, didn't that gives us the right to say this word, then, doesn't it?
Gives us the right to what?
When Jesus was whipping them with the whip and he called them you fools,
Yeah.
that's the same word here, that gives us the right to say it as Jesus said it, then, right?
No. It doesn't mean fool.
Oh.
Doesn't mean fool.
Well, then
First of all, it means someone that's damned without sacrifice.
Oh.
That's the first time. The second one is moron. All right? All right, the next one is this word.
Well, that's not the same word Jesus was calling them?
No. No. When you look at the original language, it sure gets things straight. It sure straightens out the commentaries. It sure straightens out the translations. Got a lot. All right. Morate. We got a word moron from it. Let's go back now. Go back into the Mark, the Gospel of Mark, and we'll even get over here, I believe, in Matthew. And Jesus crossed the Sea of Galilee, and he came over there into what they call the Gadarene, the area of the Gadarenes. And there was a couple of wild morons came out to meet him. Wild morons, what they call morons. They were cursed and they were damned. Why? One of his name was what? Legion. A demon in him was called Legion. How many demons did he have in him? At least 2,000 demons. Now, when a man's got about 2,000 demons in him, I think he's pretty much a moron or cursed. The word moron, actually, they thought that someone, if he was demon-possessed, that he was cursed of God, that God had given him up, and that he was damned. All right? So here we have somebody that's without a sacrifice, and which is damned, and here we have somebody that's double damned because they're demon-possessed. All right? Now, you may get real mad at somebody and everything, but really, should you damn them? Huh? Should you curse them? Well, what did the Pharisees do to Jesus when he performed all the great miracles? When he performed the great miracles, they said that he was damned, that he was a moron, a more. He said, you're doing all of these miracles by what? The power of Satan, Beelzebub. So they said he was a moron, so to speak. Someone that was totally possessed. Somebody was out of their mind. That there's probably two of those Gadarene demoniacs. One of them we talked about, the one that had legion in him. What was he doing? What did he do? What was his daily habit?
He lived among the tombs.
He lived in the graveyard. The king of the graveyard. The master of the graveyard. Nobody could hold him down. They would put handcuffs on him. He'd break the handcuffs. They couldn't contain him whatsoever at all. Period. They couldn't do anything to contain him. And he would gash himself. And he would bleed. And he would not take care of himself. And he lived in filth. Total filth. The king of the graveyard, the master of the graveyard. When he got saved and all the demons out of him, and when he became a non-moron, all right, what did he do? He went out and took a bath, put some clean clothes on, and said, Jesus, I want to follow you. And what did Jesus tell him to do? He gave him a hard job. Go home and convert your neighborhood. And you know what his neighborhood was? Decapolis. what we call the 10 cities. And those were some of the places where the strongest churches in that area were in early church history, by the way. So the old boy must have done a pretty good job. Old boy must have done a good job. Let's go on with the first now. Only God has the right to damn. Let's go to Exodus, the 33rd chapter, Exodus 33. Verses 15 to 19, and Romans 9 to 15, Malachi 1 and 2. Daniel 4, 34 through 37. 2 Chronicles 25 through 7. We're going to look at this subject. We're going to get it figured out here. All right? Don, where are you? Exodus 33:15 through 19. Exodus 33. Hold on, it's the way out. Exodus 33:15. See if I got that right. Exodus 33. I wrote down the wrong chapter. Oh, I'm in the wrong chapter. I'm reading the wrong thing. Okay, read from 15 on.
Then Moses said to him, if your presence does not go with us, do not send us up from here.
Okay, Moses is talking to Jehovah. And he tells him, I need to have your presence to go with us. That's the Shekinah glory. The Shekinah glory is Jesus, by the way. That's his glory. All right? Verse number 16 now.
How will anyone know that you are pleased with me and with your people unless you go with us? What else will distinguish me and your people from all other people on the face of the earth?
Right. And Jehovah said to Moses, okay?
And the Lord said to Moses, I will do the very thing that you have asked, because I am pleased with you, and I know you by name. Then Moses said, now show me your glory. And the Lord said, I will cause all my goodness to pass in front of you.
Wait just a minute. Have you ever looked at what he said was going to pass in front of you? All of his what? His goodness. All of his mercy. All of his mercy. All of his goodness. To pass before him. All of his goodness and all of his mercy. Jesus, one of the titles of Jesus is called Jehovah, the God of mercies. The God of mercies. So the God of mercies, who's going to pass before him? Jesus. And Adonai means what? The Lord of Lords, the King of Kings. Adonai ha'Adonai. The Lord of Lords and King of all kings and all lords. This is who the one. But he's also the Lord of loving kindness, the Lord of mercy, the Lord of the sacrifice. Jesus is not only the shepherd, but he's the sheep that's going to be sacrificed. He's our shepherd and our sheep, our fellow sheep. He was our fellow sheep, our fellow man that went to the cross for us. Go ahead, brother.
And I will proclaim my name, the Lord, in your presence. I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy. And I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion.
That's right. I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and have compassion on whom I will have compassion. How many of you ever tried to witness to a Muslim? Huh? Anybody here ever? Brother, you ever tried to witness to a Muslim? I've witnessed to a lot of them. I had them try to convert me. There's nothing there that I want. That's one of them religions that got a lot of rules for, that's not God's rules. You know, one of the things that they say, they don't want to have anything to do with a God that will pick out a nation like Israel and say that's their people. Why would he do that? Would be unjust for God to pick out one people and damn everybody else. I'll tell you what, God is what? Sovereign. He has the right. Only God has the right to damn, and only God has the right to show mercy. So he says here, I'll have mercy on whom I want to have mercy, and basically I will be gracious and I will show compassion. That's the way I am. Now, go on down here and read a little bit. And he said, you cannot see my face, no man can see me and live. That's in all of his glory. We would burn up in the glory of God if we saw his presence. Then the Lord said, behold, there is a place by me, and you shall stand there on the rock. And it will come about while my glory is passing by, that you will put you in the cleft of the rock and cover you with my hand until I pass by. Then I will take my hand away, and you shall see my afterglow, like my shadow, but my face shall not be seen. And I'm going to tell you something. The face of God is the man that's speaking to them right here in Matthew the 5th chapter. This is the face of God. But he's the God's servant right now. Okay? He's the God's servant. Now, Brother Randall, you were in the Army, weren't you? Did you ever shoot tracer bullets? You didn't have to shoot tracer bullets. Anybody ever see, Brother Bill, you saw tracer bullets?
I shot.
Oh, you shot tracer bullets. All right, I have too. You shoot tracer bullets, and bullets go real fast. But you can see a tracer bullet, and when you're shooting at airplanes in the sky, they have so many of about every how many? Five. Every 5 was a tracer. So you could see where you were shooting. That's about what Jesus was. When he passed by, it saw like the tail of a comet or a tracer bullet. It saw his afterglow. You really couldn't see it, but you saw where it was, where it had been. Okay.
Yeah, but the thing about a tracer bullet is not only that you can see where you're shooting, but like God, you can see where it's coming from.
Yeah.
So it's just as dangerous to shoot them as it is a benefit to shoot them.
Yeah. They're pretty powerful, all right? Pretty powerful. Let's go on here a little bit further now. Daniel 4:34 through 40. Daniel 4:34 through 37. Daniel, the 4th chapter. This is a profession of faith here. Nebuchadnezzar's profession of faith. Daniel 4:34 to 37. Nebuchadnezzar was picked out by God to be a king. And he got real proud of what he was doing and what he had built. He built one of the wonders, the 7 wonders of the ancient world, which was the ancient gardens of Babylon. He had done all this. He looked up there and said, look what I have done. And Daniel had told him, when you go out, you're going to get real proud, and you're going to say this, and you're going to act like a wild animal. And for a long time, he was a wild animal living among his zoo. He was a zoo. He was one of the animals in the zoo. That people could come by, well, there's Nebuchadnezzar over there crawling around eating grass. Acting like a hog, wallowing in the zoo of the heavens and everything. But at the end of the period, I, Nebuchadnezzar, raised my eyes up toward heaven, and my reason returned to me, and I blessed the Most High, and praised and honored Him who lives forever. This is a profession of faith. For His dominion is everlasting dominion. His kingdom endures from generation to generation. All the inhabitants of earth are counted as nothing. He does according to what? To His will. And the host of heaven among the inhabitants of the earth, and no one can ward off His hand, nor say to Him, why have you done this? A lot of people in false religion would like to call all the shots with them. John the Baptist was an unusual person. We studied this in one whole class on John the Baptist. John the Baptist looked at the Pharisees and scribes that came to him, and he said what? He had insight that we don't have. He called them what? You sons of snakes. In other words, you sons of the devil. You've been born of Satan. What do you do? Because he can see into their dark heart. We don't do that. We don't have that ability to see into people's dark heart. You can witness to low-down rats. Sometimes those low-down rats get saved. We don't know who the unredeemable ones are. We have no right to say, damn you. All right, let's go on. We could cover a lot more verses, Malachi 1 and 2, and Romans, the 9th chapter. God chose Esau was the firstborn, but he what? He says, Esau I hated, but Jacob I what? I love. He chose Jacob. Now Isaac, remember, when we studied about Isaac, it's his name, Itchik. His real name is Itchikal. Which means what? Itchikal. Huh? God laughs. They laughed when God told them that Sarah was going to have a baby. This afternoon we're going to talk about that in the book of Genesis. That's what we're studying in the book of Genesis. Itchikal. God laughed. Isaac, when he had those two boys, Jacob and Esau, he wanted to bless the bad one. He wanted to bless the wrong one. He wanted to bless the wild man, Esau, old Red and Hairy. That's what his name was, Red and Hairy. He wanted to bless him instead of Jacob, the one that God had chosen. And God had to blind that old man so that he wouldn't bless the wrong person. He was blind, and that way Jacob could get the blessing. The blindness didn't come from just old age, it came from God. God had to blind him so that he could get the right man to where he blessed the right person. That was God's choice. We don't have a right to damn or to bless anybody. As far as that goes, God. Yeah, only God does. Right? So that's part of it. 1 John, the 3rd chapter. 1 John, the 3rd chapter. Let's go back there. By the way, 1 John, when I was teaching 1 John, I taught 1st, 2nd, 3rd John, in the class from Greek. There are some of them over there, it may even be, there it is right there, 1st, 2nd, 3rd John right there, with the interleaving. The whole book of 1 John basically says, little children, these things I write unto you that you might what? You might know that you have been saved. How do you know you've been saved? God gives you some indicators. Okay? John 3 and verse 13 says, do not marvel, brethren, if the world hates you. We know that we have passed out of death unto life because we what? We love our brothers, whether they're lovable or not. I've had some brothers just be real bad to me sometimes. Haven't you, Brother Bill?
Yep.
That would be real bad. Yep. He who does not love abides in death. Everyone who hates his brother is a what? A murderer. And you know that no murderer has eternal life abiding in him. If you one time, give you a little example of this. I had an attorney that was a Christian attorney. Come to find out, this attorney, attorneys are lawless attorneys. And go to low law. You know what kind of guy he was. I guess there are some good attorneys. Has to look real close. Anyway, I knew this Christian attorney. He was representing me in some very, very dangerous areas, and he fought very hard for my case and everything. But it came, I was getting along with money. And he wanted my home. He wanted me to sign my home over to him. And was going to take me to court, do all kinds of stuff to me. He was going to, here I am trying to save my life and my daughter's life, and this guy's going after me now with my attorney. And I took some brothers with him and I talked to him. Because he was going to try to take me to court against me. You don't do that to your brother. Well, you know what? He was called on carpet, and that man said he was sorry. And he forgave me, and I walked off and forgave him. It made my life miserable for a while, and I'll tell you what, I could get into this very day. This very day. Because I'm supposed to. I'm supposed to. That's it. I'm supposed to do that. He turned around. He repented. Now, there's a very famous man repented this last week or two. Harold Camping. Ever heard of Harold Camping? You know, that's the end of the world, guys. 3 times. He predicted the end of the world 3 times. The title is The Family Radio Founder Harold Camping Repents and Apologizes for His False Teaching. He had some of the most beautiful music in the world on that family radio. I still listen to the music on family radio. It's kind of like Abe's thing. Really beautiful. Matter of fact, he recorded our choir. Our choir used to send out tapes, and he plays our old choir at Valley Baptist Church on his music. He told everybody not to go to church, never be baptized, that nobody that went to church was going to be saved. He finally says he gives up his ministry with family radio and said, I was wrong, and I led everybody astray for a long time, and I repent of it. When I said nobody could be saved in the church, really I was not telling you the truth. I was very deceived. Well, I'm glad the guy repented.
Amen.
I'm really glad he repented. He's probably my brother. That's good. And the sign that he repented is good. All right? Well, let's go back into Matthew, the 5th chapter. He says, this message you have from the beginning that you love one another. 23. And therefore, if you're presenting your offering at the altar and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your offering there before the altar and go to your way. First be reconciled to your brother and then come back and present your offering. You can't be angry with your brother and even worship God, right? You just got to forget it and walk on and leave it. Make friends quickly with your opponent at law. This is the outsider. Make friends quickly with your opponent while you are with him on the way, in order that your opponent may not deliver you to the judge, and the judge to the officer, and to be thrown into prison. Truly I say to you, you shall not come out of there until you have paid the very last sin. Hellfire. You paid the last sin. Now that's just common sense right there. You know, the Bible has a lot of common things. We were studying in the Old Testament here a while back, and the stock market just crashed to pieces, and it's crashed and crashed and crashed. I don't know how many times that, over and over again. People have lost fortunes trusting people to make good decisions for them, losing all of their fortune. The Bible tells you don't invest anything in one place. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Did you know that? Spread it out if you have wealth. Something there is bound to be sound and foundational. If people just follow the Bible's rules, they wouldn't be in the mess that they're in today. Just read the Bible. It's really a good book for everything. For everything. Even the court of law stuff as he just gave us right here. Well, thank you for your attention today. We'll be back in here at 4:30 this afternoon. And we will start on verse 27 next week. Verse 27. And there's a lot of difficult scriptures, a lot of scriptures that are hard to interpret, that we're going to look at with who's speaking, who's he speaking to. And we're going to try to give you straight answers to difficult passages. I hope this one straightened out a little bit for you today. Maybe? Okay. All right. Are you going to come up here?
Yeah, me and Bill are here.
You and Bill. Okay. Well, thank you for your attention.
Me and Bill are
Go out and do something eternal.
So what's going on today, guys? Nice weather, huh?
Yeah.
Perfect.